Hello everyone, God bless, welcome. I'm sitting on the back porch of a Airbnb rental we have up here in the Great Smoky Mountain National Park in North Carolina. We're spending the week up here on vacation, and it's allowed for some good reflection and rest and relaxation, which is nice. I want to talk to you today about a pretty big change I've got upcoming in my life, something I've been thinking about for a while, and wanted to share that with you and get your point of view on the whole thing and see what you guys might have to say about that. So first, welcome to the Snare 17 channel, and if you're new to the channel, please subscribe, like, do all those things, and become part of the conversation, because the content's really going to be changing a lot and get a lot more focused and purpose driven, I think, in the future here. I've spent a lot of time doing some flight simulator videos and videos around that topic, so it won't surprise you too much to hear kind of what I have in mind here today. As some of you may know, for the past 13 years, I have been working for the Federal Aviation Administration here in the U.S., and particularly the last 7+ years in Greensboro, North Carolina, as an air traffic controller. And it's a great career, it's been a great job, and it's done a lot of great things for myself and my family. And I can't say that it's been a terrible experience. It's been a very good experience. However, 13 years ago, when I started this job, I had actually originally been planning on being a pilot. And it's kind of always been a dream of mine. It's something I wanted to do since I was a kid. I actually started taking flying lessons when I was like 14 and a half. Only got like 11 or 12 hours worth of flying time, but I started way back then and stopped because of the financial aspect of it. To be honest, my parents didn't want to pay for it anymore, and I was still young and I was terrified, to be honest. Even stalls scared the heck out of me. But here we are, fast forward, and gosh, so back in 2007, 2008, I really started thinking about getting serious about sort of career-driven thoughts, and sort of starting to plan for the adult part of my life, I guess you could say. I was in my mid-20s, didn't have a whole lot of direction going on or anything, and I landed on being a pilot. Aviation is something I've always had a lot of interest in, and it was a great idea. But of course, towards the end of 2007 into 2008, a major financial crisis sort of gripped the entire world, and next thing you know, pilots are getting laid off like crazy. So pilot jobs weren't really readily available at the time, but I just happened to be poking around on the internet and saw that the FAA was hiring air traffic controllers with zero experience, like right off the street. So I got caught up in that. I figured, hey, I can do this for a couple of years, save up some money, not have to take out a whole bunch of loans and stuff to go get my flight training done. Well, that was like I said, 2008-ish we're talking, right? And here we are, March of 2023, and I am not a pilot yet. So I did, however, go get my private pilot's license. I got that a few years ago. It was pre-COVID that I went and got that, and started working on my instrument a little bit during COVID, but haven't completely finished that yet. So I've got about 127 hours, 130-ish hours in the books already, working towards instrument, and have not flown in a year and a half. So anyway, but all this time, it's sort of been nagging at me in the back of my head that, man, I really want to do something different. And COVID was a big eye-opener for me, both mentally, physically, and spiritually, I guess, emotionally, because it was really a test for me, my faith, my family, and I really came to faith, I'd say, during COVID, and it helped me realize that there are some bigger purposes out there that I really need to start fulfilling in my life. So that being said, as an air traffic controller, I'm a government employee. There's a lot of things that are not ideal to me, my sort of point of view, my way of thinking about things, that make it seem like there isn't a whole lot of future in this for me. There's not a whole lot of challenge. The only real way I can progress as an air traffic controller is to move to a bigger airport, which is noble in itself. I don't want to knock down anybody and their ability to do that. I think it's a great job. It can do a lot of great things for great people. That being said, it isn't necessarily something that I feel completely suits me. There aren't a whole lot of opportunities for me to really bring anybody else inside of that world and really speak out and share the word, um, as long as I'm with the FAA. So what I'm thinking, and we've talked a lot about this, the family has kind of talked about it. I've gotten outside counsel from flight instructors, from people in the industry, from pastor, family, friends, and it looks like what we're going to do is I'm going to start up my flight training again with the purpose of being an airline pilot, I suppose, a professional pilot. So like I said, I suppose that's airline pilot, but that seems to be pretty much the spot that most people start. But it doesn't have to be the end point. I don't know where it'll take me. I don't know exactly where I'll end up. I don't know what kind of challenges I'll have along the way. But in a way, fulfilling a childhood dream is what we're talking about, I guess. But more importantly, hopefully it will bring a new challenge to my life that my kids can kind of see me going through, which I think is important for them to understand that it's okay to tackle challenges, do things that are hard, maybe sort of take on things that other people might think are a little bit crazy, and go out and chase down some new dreams, and don't settle for anything that may be good enough for now and most people might think is good. But if there's more that you want and more that you need, maybe not need, but more that you're seeking, and you feel like you have more to give, that you can get out there and make some changes in your life, not be afraid of the consequences of those changes. So there's obviously going to be some times where the family is going to have to sacrifice a little bit. I'm going to have to sacrifice my time. Free time is going to be taken up quite a bit in the meantime doing these things. But the plan is, anyway, to get to the point, is to spend some time finishing up my instrument rating first and foremost, commercial, and we'll go from there. You know, I always have the ability to hit the eject button on this whole thing, because I'm planning on keeping my job. I'm not planning on leaving that for now, and it'll get pretty apparent pretty quickly whether this is something that I'm going to see through or not. I mean, I plan on seeing it through. I don't see any reason why I wouldn't, but as you know, as time goes on and advance through ratings and stuff like that, if it's all of a sudden this seems to be something that doesn't suit me in the slightest, or the economy tanks, or who knows what the outlook for the whole career is, I don't think it's going anywhere anytime soon. But there's always the ability to sort of put on the brakes and say, hey, I still got this job. So I don't want to use that as a crutch, though. So, and I feel like it has kind of been a crutch for bigger and better things up till now. So anyway, that's what I'm thinking. I'd like to hear what you have to say about all of that. There's a whole lot of questions that maybe you have. You want to tell me I'm absolutely nuts. You want to say, why didn't you do this sooner? Any of these kind of things. Feel free to hit that in the comments. Send me a message. Do anything you want to do in that respect. Check out my Discord channel, and like and subscribe, guys. It's going to be a journey. It is absolutely going to be a journey, and I'm going to try to have you guys along with it. In terms of flying, I'm scheduled to fly this Friday to get kind of back behind the controls for the first time in a while with an instructor. Like I said, it's been a year and a half since I've really seriously flown at all, and so I'm going to get current, going to get a little more proficient, and then going to hit the ground running on the instrument training. I've been looking through a bunch of ground school materials again and kind of getting myself back in that mindset. But the content of the channel is going to change also. I'm going to start, you may have noticed I've already started doing sort of more general aviation centered videos. Of a couple of them I put up in the Flight Simulator, and I'm going to be using Flight Simulator a lot to help me with IFR procedures, especially for this next chunk. And I think it is a very good tool for that. Maybe not because of all its like realistic flight dynamics, or whether you think they're actually realistic or not is debatable, right? I mean, everybody has an opinion on that. But it should, at the very least, be able to work well for things like shooting approaches, getting in and out of holds, following airways, and things like that. So hoping to use that as a tool, and I'm going to be showing a lot of content on here, so you guys will get to see some of that, see how somebody like myself who has a strong air traffic background, I don't struggle on the radios very much. I will say that much. If there's nothing else, talking on a radio is not something I struggle with. It's sometimes a bit of a different mindset to do it from the other side of the mic, because I'm used to being the one giving the instructions, and not so much the one responding to reading back instructions and things like that. So it's kind of interesting sometimes. But anyway, I don't struggle with that at all. But and I have a pretty good idea of how approaches work. But actually going through the mechanics of flying them, getting back in the habit of following checklists and stuff like that, and everything, is going to take some getting used to. So you're going to get to come along with me. I've got some cameras I want to put in cockpits and stuff, and so hopefully we'll get a little bit of content on that. I'm not just going to do endless hours of flight training. Nobody really wants to see that, but I'm sure there will be some things along the way that you do want to see. So let me know if there's any of that you want to see as well. So yeah, I hope to kind of chronicle this whole journey from this is kind of a new day zero for me from the beginning, as I'm re-attacking this whole thing again, and kind of starting anew, but really excited about it, because there's going to be some tough times ahead, but there's also going to be some great times ahead. I think it's going to end up putting me in a much better spot at the end. So again, let me know what you think. Tell me I'm crazy. Tell me this is a great idea. I don't know. Do whatever. It's been great so far for the people who have been supporting me. I'm sorry the content's going to be changing a little bit. Maybe it's still going to be interesting. I hope it's still interesting. Goodness gracious. But thanks for taking the time to watch through this whole thing if you have. Thanks for listening. Thanks for being willing to lend me your support, or again, tell me I'm nuts. So again, have a great rest of your day, guys. I'll be talking with you soon. So long, and God bless.